Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, this is Michael J. Maher. Welcome to another episode of The Daily Dose. You have probably been told that sales is a numbers game. That is a myth. Sales is not a numbers game. Sales is a people game. Sales is a relationships game. Here's the thing. If you take care of your people, the numbers will take care of themselves. Don't worry about the numbers. Worry about the people. You focus on the people and you will get sales. Remember, if you take care of the people, the numbers will take care of themselves. The sales will take care of themselves. And I cannot wait for today's guest to deliver his knowledge and wisdom on how do we systematize our love for our sphere of influence? How do we automate that? How do we make it regular, consistent, powerful, so that we don't even have to think about it and it just results in referrals over and over again? That's going to be our session today. Before I jump into that, we have a few announcements. Number one, in the comments below, comment 75 if you have your 75. And it is crucial. Today, we are going to, like, some of you have 75 names and that's all you have. Today, we're taking your 75 to the next level. We're going to show you how to focus on a vital few and get more referrals than you've ever gotten before. Put 75 if you've already got your top 75 identified. Put 75 in the comments below. Now, many of you are typing in 50, 75, 75, lots of 75s, and that's fantastic. Here's the other thing. Is pleasantly surprised. Like, what have you been pleasantly surprised about, or what have you been pleasantly surprised? One of the things, and this can be about anything, one thing that I have been pleasantly surprised about is that my son has taken on my coaching. Like, I could not coach my son very well for years because I was dad. And for those of you that are dads, know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, I'm the only coach he has. And in 3 weeks, we've gone out 9 times. And I will tell you that he has improved leaps and bounds. And he has finally said, you know what, my dad knows a little bit. I think I'm going to listen. And I will tell you that it's been amazing. It's been so good. And I have to tell you that it's been really good because it's allowed me to kind of like, I don't have to yell. I don't have to repeat things 55 times because, you know, if they're not listening, what do? You either yell or you repeat it. And the thing is maybe the reason they're not listening is because they're just not going to take advice from you. So we need to like identify that early. And I have to tell you that I learned that after about a year of trying to coach him, that he's just not going to be coached by me. So it's like, I'm not going to advise him. Well, we're back in this mode, and now I'm not yelling, now I'm not repeating things, and now I'm not giving up, just not coaching. We have actually had real conversations. It's been amazing. So I've been pleasantly surprised by that. And another announcement is by the way, in the comments below, what have you been pleasantly surprised about? Next is next week. Listen to this lineup for the Daily Dose for next week. We have Nick Santonastasso, no legs, one arm, one finger. And he is going to talk about how to be victorious in times of crisis. And I will tell you, next Monday, you will see the sizzle reel on the Generosity Generation group many times. If you are not familiar with Nick Santonastasso, he's one of the top motivational speakers in the world, sharing the stage with Tony Robbins on a regular basis. On Monday, it is not just for adults. We have a lot of adult-only parties in the Gen. This one is a family watch party. I know many people are going back to school on Monday, at 1 o'clock on Monday, your kids' class will be Being Victorious in Times of Crisis with Nick Santonastasso. It is Bring Your Kid to Work Day on Monday, 1 o'clock, and you will be doing a family watch party. My son, Max, will also be attending the family watch party, and I will be bringing Max to work that day. So that's Monday. Tuesday is Shakima Chapman with the communication plan. Paulie Dominich is going to dominate on Wednesday with his simple strategy. Tony and Jen Scarparo are certified morning coaches on Thursday. And then we have Tim Brahim, like an energy and mindset guru, on Friday of next week. Are you like, drop the mic? Like that is so powerful. And I have to tell you, if it wasn't for you, the Daily Dose listeners, we could not have these great guests. Time management with Neil was yesterday, and I have to tell you, it was sold out. I know many of you, we're going to do another one. I know many of you tried to get in and couldn't get in. We will figure out another time management class with Neil. And then also Grading 101. And just so you know, today you're going to learn why grading is so important. And you're going to want to take that class with Sandy next Tuesday, 2:30. You do have to register. It is free. There is no cost, no obligation. The bottom line is go to the events in the Generosity Generation group and sign up for Sandy Creston's Grading 101. The first people who sign up are the first people who get through the door. That's just how it works. We do have a limited capacity on these, but the bottom line is we want you to get in and do it. So without further ado, I have to tell you, I am so thrilled to have on today's Daily Dose a person with a master's degree in organizational development. Think about that for a second, right? Master's degree. But the thing is you pair this super intelligence up with a heart for servants and servant leadership. And Dan Baltzer has created high-functioning mega teams everywhere he's gone, closing hundreds of transactions each year. Embedded inside of his organizations is a focus not only on lead generation, but more importantly on building authentic relationships, which lead to referrals and other business generating opportunities at scale. And I will tell you, without further ado, it is my honor, my pleasure, my privilege to welcome Dan Baltzer to the Daily Dose. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Michael. It's fun to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Well,
walk alongside you and the Gen generation.
Absolutely. And you're a leader in the generosity generation, and you may be newer, but you've made a humongous impact in a short amount of time. And trust me when I say I really, really appreciate that. And today we're talking about systematizing our love for our sphere of influence. Like I have to tell you, that's the thing, is that people do love their people. Or at least now some do, right? Some people don't like people at all, and they're in sales, and that is what it is. But the thing is, it's like it's kind of like they forget to tell them, that they love them, or they forget to communicate that they love. And what I love about this is you're going to help us with how do we communicate in a professional way that delivers the love and shows the love. So, talk to me about that. Like how can we systematize and automate it so that we can leverage and scale?
First, yeah, no doubt. But first, before we jump into that, did you get your 12 p.m. noon text from Tommy from yesterday checking in?
I did. Thanks for the reminder. I did. And I had a salad for lunch, and I actually feel better today, just from the sense of what's funny is I feel better because of the food, but I actually feel better because I have a plan, So it's like this dual, like I have a plan, I have a system, and I'm eating right. It's kind of like what you're talking about today, is that I feel really good about my database by the end of your conversation today, because it's like I'm doing the right things, and I also have a plan to do the right things in the future. So I feel better, and I don't worry about it, and I'm going to sleep better tonight,
Oh, awesome. Glad to hear it. And we do have, or I'll share a tool that everybody can have and use to kind of put things together so that they do this right now. Most, I don't want to say all, because it's not, but most folks who are really good in sales lead with their heart. And that's what, that's what we want to do. That's actually what we're promoting. But oftentimes those same skill sets oftentimes don't have the content or they don't have the skill set that then creates systems and checklists, and it just, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and they just go by them being them and loving generously, which actually takes energy, right?
Yeah.
And so when they think about this is your business, right? We are in the business. We're in the people business. I've heard you say it several times. We're in a business, and every business I've ever been to, have been part of, has a system, a standard operating procedures, a manual this thick that may get ignored, may not get ignored, but you need to create that because you need to be consistent in creating the brand experience that you want to put out there.
Yeah.
Because you want people to talk about you, and if they talk similarly about you, that's the brand experience that's replicated, right? Now, there's some pre-work to do. What is the brand experience, that type of thing. But what it comes down to is you're building your systems, everything you need to do, and think about every step along the way. What is it going to do? What's every touch point? And then when you're creating this checklist and this stuff is you have to look upstream and downstream. What's the ripple effect that happens within this, right?
So what does that mean? Like upstream and downstream? And I'll give an acronym for system and kind of my thoughts on systems here in a little bit, because what you're really talking about is the power of systems. But when you say upstream and downstream, explain that a little bit to people.
Sure. So one, and everyone can go ahead and take this piece here. It's not in the material, but it's something cool to do. One of the most powerful things that I've discovered, and this was taught to me, is let's say you have a buyer's client. You're in real estate. Let's say you have a buyer's client. So if you're in a different industry, you're going to find this similar endpoint, but you'll have to do it here. But we all do a gift of some time, a closing gift or something like that, right? But when you think about it, where is the emotional high for your buyer client?
When they make an offer and when they get it, and then when they close, right?
When accepted,
am I right? We have not rehearsed these questions, so I'm excited if I'm right.
Accepted is the highest peak. Because when you think about it, right before closing, what happened before closing? You had about a week and a half of almost very little communication. The wheels are turning, and you're going to come and reunite at closing, right? So there's a closing gift, and there's a hot thanks. But who's at the closing right now during this COVID time? No one's at the closing.
Yeah.
But who's at the closing in normal times? It's 6, 7 people, right? It's the lender at the show, the 2 agents, and the buyer and the seller, and something like that, right? Okay, yes, you give a gift, and that's nice. And it's something to do, and it should genuine from the heart, that's fine. But if you're going to take that spend, whatever your spend is going to be, right? What I've done is I've moved that spend to the accepted offer piece, right? And now in our systems, once you have an accepted offer, we have an organization called Tank Goodness. It's a bakery shop. They will send hot cookies and milk to their work.
Send what? Hot what?
Hot chocolate chip cookies and milk to their work location.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's
now
awesome.
Think about that. They're at their emotional high, and this is also leveraging reticular activation.
Yeah.
They are now seeing everyone who's in the home search process, because that's what they're in. It's the same thing. If you buy a new car, it's only, well, that car's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Top of mind. Yep.
You're top of mind. You're leveraging that. And at that moment in time, you just sent them 48 cookies. Are they going to eat 48 cookies at work?
48 cookies.
I just make a number up. However many you want to, right?
Wow.
So here you have 2 dozen, 4 dozen cookies at their work location.
Yeah.
And they're excited because they just got the offer accepted. And who are they talking to and what are they talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely love this, is that, maybe you keep your closing gift and that kind of thing. And whatever you do there. And I have always been a proponent that the ultimate closing gift is a housewarming party.
Yes.
And please notice that if you have sponsors and people who partner with you on your housewarming party, your housewarming party might pay for these 2 dozen cookies that are being delivered to their work at acceptance. And I have to tell you, Dan, you've captured this, is that, what is the emotional high point? It is when they get the house, especially in today's world, in a competitive, and trust me, it's still a seller's market. It's still a seller's market. Homes are selling very quickly. And when they get that acceptance is the highest, because as soon as the inspection happens, it loses a little bit of the luster because somebody just picked out 48 problems with this thing that you loved before, So it's I love that you're capitalizing on the big emotional moment. You're sending it to the work where they're probably the most social, and they have to share it, and they're going to say, "Where'd you get these cookies?"
Yep. Right. Now, to think about that, Now this goes into your definition of upstream and downstream.
Yeah.
The moment in time is, I just got an accepted offer.
Yeah.
So your process needs to kick in. If it's, in the evening time, first thing in the morning, whatever it is that that the next task for that process you take, bang, order the cookies. But now you need to know where to send them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So my upstream impact of wanting to do this is upstream. I have to find out where their work is.
Right.
Because if Michael, you're my buyer client, and last night we got a hire, yay, we won. I call you next morning, hey, where do you work, Michael?
Mm-mm. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to lose some of the luster, right?
Yeah,
you lose the surprise.
Exactly.
We don't want to lose the surprise. We want it to be like, how did he know? How did he know that how did this happen? And that's part of the power of the surprise here, right? So we're gonna get that work address early, right? And I want to just touch on the systems piece of this, just so we can bring everybody. I should have done this as part of the intro, but I had so many announcements that I had to kind of shorten the intro. But it's like, system is an acronym. Many of you have heard me speak on this, but we have a lot of new people to the generosity generation. We've added 400 or 500 people in the last day or two. So it's like, welcome to the generosity generation, first of all. Second of all is I have an acronym for system, and that is saving you stress, time, energy, and money. And in my opinion, energy is the most precious resource. And what Dan's talking about here is saving a ton of energy, a ton of energy around trying to remember things. I mean, a lot of you right now, you're like, oh my God, that's such a great idea to do cookies at the work and thing. And you're writing it down, and it's like, I actually have a crappy note sheet. Yeah. It probably looks like this a little bit, it's like, that's really unorganized notes. Now, here's the thing but how are you going to remember? If you have a system, then you can remember. And systems are crap, which happens to be another acronym, thank goodness. So systems are crap. CRAP is an acronym for consistent, repeatable, automatic, and proactive. And I have to tell you, I'm not sure if there's anything more professional than being consistent and having repeatable systems or repeatable things you can do, having things that are automated, and having things that are proactive. Please notice, every time Dan goes into a transaction, he's not guessing about what to send them to work. He's proactive. He knows warm chocolate chip cookies and milk is going to be pretty universally accepted at their work. And you might think, well, what if they're on a diet? Right? You talked about being keto friendly yesterday, Michael, and this, that, and the other. It's like, you know what? Even better, because I'm going to have these 24 cookies. I'm not going to eat any of them. But what do I have to do?
You get to give them.
I have to share them, right? I get to give them away. And guess who made that happen? My realtor. So systems are crap. Systems an acronym for saving you stress, time, energy, and money. You got to have them. You got to have them. They're going to let you sleep better at night. They're going to let your business function at a much more efficient level. And then crap is systems are consistent. Make sure your systems are consistent. They're repeatable, which we have a system for the daily dose right here. Like, what do we do before the daily dose? It's a pretty long checklist. And guess what? We're going to test it next week. My 11-year-old is going to run Sherry's checklist. So if my 11-year-old can run this, what does that do? Two things. One, it frees Sherry up to do other stuff, but it also means that it's so easy an 11-year-old could do it, which is exactly how you want your systems. But the other thing is now Max can do it, and he has a more active role, but it's not a role of just being like cheerleader and supporter, or being there for support. It is a very active, like now Max can take ownership of the daily dose and what we do here. And it's a team thing within the family. So it's like, that's the power of a system right there, So I have to tell you, what Dan's talking about here is why you listen to me. And I don't mean to make it about me, but it's like what we're about to share is monumental. It is game changer. So there we go.
Cool. Now, here's one thing. I'm going to give you 2 points on creating your systems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, you want to have the perspective is the create the system with the experience of the end user or the recipient of your systems.
So client.
Right? Yeah,
right?
client, and
right.
you know, what's their experience, and tailor it around the experience you want to give them, which is in uniform with the brand experience you want to put out in the marketplace, right? Okay. Not just a checklist, what's easiest for you.
Right.
No, it needs to be designed around what's the experience you're going to give and how they're going to. So
it's what you do to create the ultimate client experience, or it's and what you're saying is, how do we set the people who work with us up for success? Yes. Yep. So like Sherry's checklist, she's going to double and triple check this because Max is going to do it, and she's not going to have input. I'm actually going to run the show from Max's system. So what does she have to do? She wants to set Max up for success, just like we want to do with our clients. We want to set them up for success because we know that their success stories are really our success stories. Love that. Love that.
And then everything you create in your systems that have action for you, you want to create it so that your time blocking, because time blocking becomes part of this because you have to run it, right? Or if you are able to leverage other talent, you know, you have an assistant or multiple agents or whatever it is.
Right.
Actually, and you have everything feeding you. Okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah.
So let's see. So at some point, I'm sure in Neil's talk, they talked about you're going to have your sphere of influence time daily, however long it is that he was teaching, right?
9 to 10 is first and 10, 10 to 11 hour of power, right?
That's
just an example.
You're doing a power at 9 to 10. Well, from 10 to 11, your system should be feeding you who, what, where, and why you are doing on those calls. You shouldn't be going to scrounge for it.
Right.
Your process should be feeding you, whether that is a paper note system, whether that's whatever CRM that has task reminders that are set for the specific time that you're doing your hour of power. Yeah. It just pops up and feeds you what you're doing. And that's the key to any of this stuff that we're building at scale, is that it's feeding you without you having to go scrounge, to go find and to go search.
Yeah, love
right.
That.
Many folks are going to sit here, hey, I'll do the first 3 days of hour of power, but by the time they get to work week 3, now what?
Yeah.
Right. And you have solved that in a lot of your 7L stuff, Google Alerts, whatever. And this is where that tool is that I said we can share with the group, and we can flash up whenever you like here. Yeah. But ultimately, whatever you put into your system is what you're going to get out.
Yeah.
So if it's garbage in, it's garbage out.
100%. Gigo, right?
So,
Gigo. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I'd like to, share with the generosity generation, and I've heard, a couple CRTs I've shared this with, and them have given me feedback that they thought this was super cool.
Yeah.
Is I took a lot of your stuff, added Harvey McKay's How to Swim with Sharks, his 66 profile to it.
Yeah, 66 question questionnaire, right? The Harvey McKay. He's in Minnesota. He owned an envelope company. He really wants you to write a lot of handwritten notes. He owns an envelope company, right? So, and what's interesting is that I can't wait for us to dive into this, because this is like what you've done is you've got an electronic VIP form. And what I'll show in a little bit is one of the things we're going to share Dan's file, and then we will also share our short VIP form, which is the front page only, and we will share our long VIP form, which is a 2-page document, and then we're going to show you how to use this, right? So having the data is one thing, but using it is a completely another. So Dan, why don't you go ahead and do your screen share and bring up what is the data that we could collect, and how and when do we do it?
Oh yeah, exactly. Some of it is instant. All right, let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
All right, so fantastic, right? Now there's 2 things that
can you make it a little bit bigger, Dan, by any chance? Can you go a little bit, just a little? There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Nice.
Cool. All right, so you'll get a link, you'll get this file. Now, what I like about this, there's 97 data points, and I'm sure you can always add more or take ones out that are not for you, however you want to build your business.
That's right.
But the couple things I think would be useful for folks who are really engaging your 7L communication piece is how I've gone through, and feel free to change it, but I've highlighted what are Google Alert possibilities and what are date-based touch points in all of this, right?
Yeah. So explain those real quick before you even go through the examples. Like, a lot of people, they've read 7L, and one of the first things we assign our coaching clients is the Google Alert piece. But go ahead and explain what you're talking about with Google Alert possibilities.
Okay. So again, you want your systems to feed you, right? Now, one of the most important things we should do, how to systematize agents in love, is you always want to be in conversation with as many people as you can simultaneously, right?
Right.
Now, was it Dunbar's principle of 150 is your SOI, right? So how can you be in constant conversation with 150 plus people at the time? That's hard to do.
Bulk or mass, right? But it's really hard to be uniquely or personally
There's the conversation,
right? We want the word of the, it used to be bulk and mass. How do we get to the bulk and how do we do the mass? And those are the old ego era words. And now it's personalized and customized. So how do we have personalized and customized conversations or communication with our top 150?
Exactly, right? And so this is one of the things you do that is, of these 97 questions, the Google Alerts is you tell the world of the internet, tell Google to look for and search for whatever it is that you put in as the search. So off the top of that bat here, if you're, put your clients or your sphere or your referral's first name into a Google alert, and if they ever make the news, your system feeds you that says, hey, look, Michael Maher just made the news. Mm-hmm. All right, so now you're in your hour of power time. Yeah. And your system says, hey, here's a Google alert for Michael Maher, and today's your day to contact him. You can go in and look and say, look at this, he was in the news, and now you have a point to reach out. You can do a video text, you can do a phone call, you can just do a straight text with a link to the article. But either way, what you're saying is, hey, dear Michael, hey, congratulations on the article. I saw you in this. Fantastic. And insert then, a PS, whatever type thing you want to do there. But now you didn't have to go and find it. It came to you during the time when you're going to make that unique touch, and it was personal and relevant to Michael. You spent 16 seconds on it, and you're moving on to person 2. But what did Michael just receive?
A very warm touch, a very personalized, customized touch. And I have to tell you, Dan, I just checked in preparation for, I have 4,152 Google alerts that are running every day. And for those of you that are not familiar with this, just go to alerts.google.com and you can type in your own Google alert possibilities. So an example is you want to type in your own name, right, Dan? I mean, I have in there Michael J. Maher and 7 levels of communication, because I want to know who mentions me so that I can go back around and express my appreciation for them saying something about me, Exactly. But literally Google alerts are endless. Like I have several on spread offense, air raid, Mike Leach, all these different things about football, and I have these things about baseball. But one of the most effective things is when you have it for your clients. You've got their name in Kansas City, and when it emails you, you don't have to do this Google search. Google's doing it every day for you. It pops into your email, and then you can forward it, make a comment, and say, hey, I noticed that you won this award, or I noticed you were in the news, or you were quoted. And they're like, oh my God, thanks. And nobody else is doing that. Like back in the day, I noticed Jim Maher, my uncle, it's amazing that somebody from your family would actually listen to you as well. But I want to welcome, I don't know if he's ever been on a Daily Dose or here's the thing. This is the age-old clipping articles from the paper and sending it to people. And that strategy is an amazing, it's like a handwritten note on steroids. When you get a handwritten note and there's an article in there about you that somebody clipped and just says, congratulations. Well, this is the digital age way of doing that. And I love, Dan, that you've got this data, and let's go back to your screenshot real quick, if you don't mind, because we just did the name. Let's scroll down and look at what are all of the Google alert possibilities from the 97-point touch point.
Sure. And I'm going to insert one thing as we go down here. So Michael came to me as a referral, whatever. I'm going to go through and see what I can find about him. Look about LinkedIn. Where do you think I found his business address? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so in this example of you as the buyer and the cookie thing, right? So before I meet with you, if you're a referral, I'm going to go through and see what information I can find about you before I even go out there, right? So in my prep work prior to first appointment, I'm doing a little bit of social background review. Yeah. I find your LinkedIn profile. You work at, 7L Book Club, right? And there's an address to it. Fine. So I'm going to make sure during conversation, I'm just going to kind of gently confirm in the dialogue, hey, man, where are you working, or how's it going on if I don't know you that well? And you're going to say, yeah, I have a business at 7-Up. Fine. You just confirmed it. That's great. And that's where then I get the address that goes in the system before, right? But now let's go back to your to your piece here, right? People like to talk about themselves, right? So here's a couple of things. Where's their hometown? Right. And if you did some of the hidden strategy or your one-on-one conversations, what do you feel his or her long-term personal objectives or goals are? What are they trying to accomplish? What's their biggest challenge? You put that in here. Or maybe, again, their current employer, their employer gets news articles, right? Okay. Where do they go to high school? Hey, if the hometown baseball team just won the state championship, and I know that Michael is a baseball dude, hey, Michael, look at your hometown just won the state championship. Way to go, bro.
Yeah.
And sometimes they may not even know that.
Well, that actually brings up a great comment. Sherry, who made the comment about, sometimes you do this and the other person doesn't even know they were quoted or mentioned in the article. Who was that said that? Donna Clayton Lloyd. Sometimes they don't even know they have been mentioned, and you make them feel famous and important just by telling them you noticed. And I will tell you, do not underestimate the power of a little bit of knowledge. I have a client who, I had a better relationship with her husband than I did her, just because I played softball with him and I knew him. But I knew that she loved Shel Silverstein books. Well, I did a Shel Silverstein Google alert. When the alert came up, I forwarded it over, and it was actually like a workshop around Shel. So she took her kids and then wrote me the nicest thank you. And she said, I would have never, ever known about that if it wasn't for you. And I got to share my love of the Shel Silver. And I'm not even sure what Shel Silverstein has written, but the thing is she got to share that love for that author and for those books with her kids. And now they love Shel Silverstein, So it's one of those where it's like the usage of this information is so powerful. That's just the Google alert side.
Are you enjoying the Daily Dose? Want to connect with thousands of other business owners that are winning the referral game while working from home right now? Head over to the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Connect with leaders, visionaries, and business owners from all over the world. Go to www.joingengen.com. That's www.joingengen.com.
Yep, but it's all about getting the system to feed you. And here is, again, what I like about the tool is it's already identified and highlighted some of the things that you can set this up for. And of course, you add anything you want.
Let's go to the date centric, right? Now we have these, we have the almost like accidental or how they happen things on the Google alerts. But now we've got these other things that can be regular communications. And so let's go to your spreadsheet and go through what are those things that are date centric or could be
common ones right there. Anything that's a date that you find out important in lives, right? Birthday, wedding anniversary, whatever. And Michael, I love your day before the birthday call. Your 3 days before the wedding anniversary to the gentleman, 1 day before for the lady.
Sometimes we don't even remind the ladies. after talking to the guy, it's like, don't tell her. I've got something I'm working on. So
right. Your home purchase anniversary, we call on that one, just say, hey, can you imagine it's been whatever. But there's a little flag of stuff you can do in here. I know you've done this as well. If it's year 2, you send them a little tax piece on that one. You still send them mail. Anniversaries, children's birthdays, as you find them out.
Love that. Dog's birthday.
Whatever it wants to be.
Yep.
Anytime there's a date thing that allows you to then, your day before the birthday call, you can do any date. And it's just hey, I'm thinking of you. It applies to any date that's significant in their lives, right? One of the coolest things that I've done with this, and it's more on the alert piece though, but if you find out that your daughter does equestrian in a certain area, then you can send them an youth equestrian article, right? And it's talking about their kids. Right. Hey, were you in this? Did you see this? And that type of thing. And again, it is demonstrating to your recipient that you're thinking about them. It took you 16 seconds during your hour of power, and you had a massive impact on their experience with you. And if you had 16 seconds times how many of those in an hour you can do, at a interval scale, your A's are getting this, your B's are getting this, your C's are getting this. We talk about grading, and we can do that in a bit. You now have in an hour touched 100 people in ways that are experienced to them, and it's more than just how you doing.
That's right. Personalized, customized, right? Direct to them. And one of the questions we get is how do you manage getting so many Google alerts, right? And I'll answer, and then Dan, I'll let you answer as well. For me, with 4,000 plus alerts, I only get about 20. Now, I'm really good at creating those alerts so that I only get good information. So that's one. I use quotes. I use the plus sign for, additional. So I know how to use a Google search bar very, very, very well, so that I don't get a lot of the extraneous stuff or the stuff that doesn't apply. So I'm only getting probably 20 alerts a day out of 4,000 plus. So I get an air raid one like every day. Air raid is a type of offense in football. I get one of those almost every day. I have one for handwritten notes, and I probably get one for that every other day. But the thing is that it's not that hard to manage if you do it daily, because it's 20 a day. I delete, half of them, and I act on 10 of them, and I'm done.
Yep. And you can.
How do you manage it?
One, I do mail routing, so I have a folder for alerts, so that's not even in my inbox. It just stays over here, so that when it's time for me to do that activity, I just look at this one folder, and then once you use it, you get out, and you get better at refining the search as you go on, right?
Yeah, using quotes is a difference maker.
Right.
Don't just type in Shell Silverstein books. Type in quote, double quote, Shell. Make sure you spell it right, and then Silverstein, and then close quote, and then books, or whatever you want to. So
and that's that little piece there, and this is just the foundation piece, right? About how you give love and generosity. We gave the example of the award, honoring them during this piece, and this flows into your post close, your post transaction follow up, where you're just keeping your community alive. Right. Things in there as well that you could possibly, if you want to do. If you know that Michael's favorite salad is a specific salad from this specific restaurant, right, and you just note and track that, all that type of stuff, and you build it so that it feeds you at that point in time you need it. When you're doing your stack day, maybe you already have their order placed. You've heard my stack day. How
or
I
their
run
drink.
those.
Right, have their drink out in front. I know they drank iced tea with their lunch or whatever it may be. Right.
And so it's tailoring it to them all the way along the entire process.
Proactive, being super, super pro. Here's what we always start these daily doses with pleasantly surprised. You've been pleasantly surprised by. What if you pleasantly surprise someone every single day? And that's really like my whole life is I want to pleasantly surprise and wow somebody every day. A little gift, a little remembrance, a little cool thing, whatever it may be. And you can't do it without the knowledge. But that's the joy of this spreadsheet, is that you got to have a place that all this information is going to reside. And is this a Google sheet or is it in Excel?
It's a Google sheet.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
You can just save it to Excel for whatever you use. But again, this is you'll have to make a copy, meaning save a copy as, but it's for free for you guys to use, whoever wants to use it. And it's actually the data collection that you'll then load into your CRM, or you'll load in this, or whatever system and tool you're using. If you're using the paper-based getting things done from the early 2000s, or whatever it is, whatever it is that you do, that's fine. But this is a consistent collection point, right? So I'm sure in your time blocking, there's time where you work on your business, not just in your business. Now, the differentiation that I use for in the business is you're only looking at one transaction at a time. You're on the business, you're looking at how can you get hundreds of transactions at a time. Right.
Yeah. This is, I have to tell you, as the host of the Daily Dose, I have to tell you, I'm in a little bit of a quandary now, just because it's like, this is so powerful that it's like, do we turn this into a class? And I'm not, Dan, I'm not I'm not required. I'm not asking or anything like that. It's just like, because what we're talking about is so like power. One of the things is like, how do you gather the information? How do you get the information? And I have to tell you, that's an entirely another great 30-minute conversation of, you know, how to get the information. I mean, like how are you currently gathering some of this information that you collect for people?
Sure. So a lot of it you can snoop on. So you do that type of thing, your surveillance. But
yeah. What is it called?
Say it again.
Say that again. You what?
Oh, I just, you know, just do a little research on them because guess what? They're researching
Facebook you. Profile, right?
Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever.
Yeah.
They're researching you. You're going to research them, right? Especially if it's a referral or someone you don't know all that well, you want to kind of know what's shaking out with, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't try and find all that sheet has 97 points on it. I'm not going to find all 97 points.
Right.
But I know it's on my sheet. So when we're having conversation and they're dropping, okay, got that. Okay, got that. Right. Okay, got that. And it just happens a lot in conversation. And if you move them to a one-on-one schedule, what are you talking about during your one-on-one schedule? You're using the FORD acronym or the FROG acronym, right? And they're just filling all of it. And you just collect it over time. And after about 3 conversations, you really, or if you use Tommy Sandvik's, you know, the forgotten strategy, right? Mm-hmm. Bang. You are now unpacking so much so fast. Yeah. Right. All right. And just like your implementation, you know, you say, hey, you go to an hour seminar, you book an hour and a half, so you have immediate implementation time, right?
That's right.
You do a one-on-one, you should have 10 minutes immediately afterwards where you can just dump in, you know, what's in your head. Now later you can go put in your system, but you know, maybe you do an audio recorder to yourself, right? Yeah. Audio memo, note to self, whatever the message is.
Siri, hey Siri, do a reminder, right?
Of these things or whatever, right? So use however you want to work to use so that you can then don't have to try and remember it 3 days later. You instantly capture it. When you're on your work on the business time, you're uploading into your system, and then it's going to feed you the rest of the way through.
Yep. Right? I'll tell you what, so, you know, just from my experience, you know, is that the way we do this is that at a buyer's consultation or a listing appointment, we will have them come into the office. Now, a listing appointment, we would do a listing appointment at their office, but then we would do a seller consultation in our office. So we always did our things in 2 steps. And if they came to the office, we knew we had the listing. You know what I mean? Yep. So on the buyer side, we did all of our buyers consultations in the office. We had a whole process for this, just like a doctor's office. They would come in and we would have a clipboard ready for them to each fill out. One of those sheets that they would fill out is a VIP form, which we will share in the file section here on the Generosity Generation group. And they could fill this out in a matter of 5 to 7 minutes. We had a drink menu and we would say, hey, what kind of drink would you like? They would go to the refrigerator and get whatever drink they wanted. And guess what? We also noted on their sheet what drink they asked for from the drink menu. So we instantly got their favorite drink. We have another form that we had them fill out, which was the Home Sweet Home form, which just tells us, they gave us their criteria before we even did our first search with them. Well, I will tell you on the VIP form, one of the most important questions is, you know, most people would consider me to be mostly straight to the point, social and outgoing, steady and dependable, or cautious and perfect, right? And have them circle which of the DISC they were, so we knew exactly how to communicate with them. And so they would fill out this VIP form. Now we do have an extended VIP form, which would be more like your Excel spreadsheet, right? But now, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been doing your 75 and you're working on your top 150. This is the answer. Now, I do not have permission from these people to put their picture on the internet, but the bottom line is this is my database. Like if our house was on fire, I would make sure the kid, the wife, and the dog are okay, and then I would grab this book. This, ladies and gentlemen, goes with me almost everywhere I go, and it is VIP form, after VIP form, after VIP form, after VIP form, and I know like all this information on all of them, and it's just right here on the form. So what you're going to do with your top 75 is you're going to have a VIP form. Now, here's the thing. You're like, well, I don't have a buyer's consultation. They're not coming in for a seller's consultation. And so how do I do it? One of the best ways is do some search, do some researching. But I have to tell you, they're going to answer these questions by phone right now. Like, Dan, what's your favorite restaurant?
Rudy's.
What is it? Rudy's?
Rudy's.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite TV show?
I like the Netflix show Tutors.
Do you drink or not?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. What if you were going to order an alcoholic beverage? What would you order?
Godfather.
Oh, boom! Right. Favorite dessert of all time?
Tiramisu.
You have a favorite musical artist or a band?
Good call. I tend to more like genres.
Okay. What's your favorite genre?
Christian
Techno,
rock.
right? Techno, underground.
Techno, yeah, right.
Rave, right?
Rave, that's me. I'm with the mask on.
If there was an actor who was in a movie, like you would have to see this movie because the actor's in the movie, what actor is that?
I tend to like Henry Cavill.
Okay, very cool. And is there an actress same way?
No, I don't know Hollywood that well.
Yeah, so I like Reese Witherspoon and Scarlett Johansson, and then on the other side, it's I'll tell you, Tom Hanks. I love all of his movies, and then
that's a good one.
Yeah. So anyway, Tom Cruise, same way. Like if it's a Tom Cruise movie, I could probably watch it 10 times. So, do you have a favorite sports team?
Not really.
Well, it's because you're in Minnesota. Oh!
You are not false.
I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Go Vikings. Go Twins. Go. So, what do you get up early to do? Like literally, I want to know your answer to that. Like, what would you get up early to do?
I do. Here's my alarm goes off at 3:45.
Yeah.
4 a.m. I start sending out motivational texts to the populations of people that I send motivational texts out to. That takes about a half hour. 4:30 to 5 is like your that personal meditation, reflection, prayer time, and then I hit the gym. So.
Yeah. So you're getting up to inspire and motivate people. I love that. So, for me on that, what to get up is for a baseball tournament for my son, I would get up earlier than I had to and not complain. Right. It used to be play softball. It used to be play golf, things like that. Do you have a favorite vacation spot, or where's the funnest or best vacation spot you've ever gone to?
Whitewater rafting.
Wow. Where did you do that?
I've done it twice. I did it in the northern Wisconsin, right where the river between I don't remember the name, but between the UP and Wisconsin, and then I've done it out in the Colorado River.
Okay. Very cool. So as everybody can tell, that took me 4 minutes and 32 seconds. And I didn't write them all down. I apologize. But I literally got 20 data points. So, it's like, hey, listen, I have these questions that we went over on this thing with my coach today, and I'd love to ask you a few of these questions. Do you mind if I ask you? And they're going to say, sure. Now, I will tell you that in July, they may not say sure, or September of this year, they may not say sure, because they're going to be busier. But right now, people are going to answer these questions. New York Times just had a great article today that talked about the humble phone call is making a comeback. And that's the truth, the just saying hello is a great, Jen, you've been preparing for this for 20 years.
Lines, sometimes we all come across folks who we haven't been stayed in touch with, for whatever reason, right? How do you get back in touch with them? So here's kind of two fun, there's always been the classic shame on me call. Yeah. Right. Hey, Shane, Michael, my bad. It's been so long since we see each other, right? But I actually had someone bring this to me, and I think it's really cool. I'll share it with all you guys. If there ever is a need to re-engage someone who's kind of dropped off the radar, depending on how long they go, but I've kind of called it memory lane. Yeah. Take a picture of an old picture you have with them, or send them a text of an old picture you have them on your phone or whatever, and say, hey, came across this, thought of you. How have you been? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I love it. Just trigger that old memory back from time to time. So there's another, the shame on me or the memory lane, if you have reasons to have any type of memory lane with them, right? To re-engage someone who you haven't spoken to in a while. And we all have folks who have somehow that's occurred with. I love it. I was reading something online and thought of you.
You know, it could have been their Facebook profile that you're reading, but whatever, I think the whole having to have a script for the conversation is overrated. I think picking up the phone and just calling without a take or a looking to get is the power. If you know you're just calling and you're not looking to get anything from it, it's amazing how great those conversations can be, you know? So, but the date, time sensitive calls are fantastic. Their home anniversary, their birthday, child's birthday, anniversary's coming up in 3 days, whatever it may be. Jana Cadell is a great example. She is rocking Gen right now. And, you know, she kind of come into the fold. What's interesting is she's recently come into the fold because I have called her for 14 straight years on her birthday. I literally have not missed calling her on February 1st. Trust me, I don't know everybody's birthday all the time, but her birthday was recent, so I remember it. But it's one of those where it's like I called her for 14 straight. We taught on a cadre for Star Power 14 years ago, and it happened to be during her birthday time, so we took her out to dinner and had a birthday meal. And I just noted it in it was a Palm Trio at the time.
Wow. I had one.
Right?
I had one of those.
Yeah, one of the greatest phones ever. But, you know, in your phone, you can literally set a reminder for forever. I remember our database. I was so frustrated because you could only set a reminder for 5 years. Well, Gmail, that reminder is forever. Like literally, you can be reminded forever to do the birthday call or the day before the birthday call. So I'm telling you that this is what we're talking about right here is about loving on your people and being how do you be awesome? Like, being awesome is not about any special skill or a superhero cape. You know, being awesome is in the realm of everyone. It is within everybody's reach to be like, not just awesome, but like super awesome. You know what a super awesome person does is you think they remember things about you, but we can't remember everything about people. So all we have to do is keep data on people. But the other side of it is you can't keep data on everybody. So guess what we've been doing the last 3 weeks? Focusing on the vital few, 25 a week. Now your job is to call, and we're going to start building those VIP forms for those 75. And you're going to have 75 great conversations next week. You can get started today if you haven't done that yet. But next week, one of your jobs is going to be having those 75 conversations where you're going to fill out the VIP form physically. What? You mean like real paper? Yes, with real paper. You're actually going to punch 3 holes in it. And you're like, I don't have a 3-hole punch. Take a knife or scissors, poke a little hole, and you are going to form your ambassador book during the daily dose. Now, do you have to do that? No, you don't have to do anything, right? You don't even have to stay at home. You could go out, hang out with a bunch of virus, people and get sick. You could do that, right? You have 100% you could do, but here's what I'm telling you is maybe like staying at home, maybe doing this will change your life. And that's, Dan, what you're doing here and what you've been doing with your people, and when I say people, I mean your sphere of influence, is off the charts. And, the fact that it's a system for like delivering the goods. What we've really done is, how do you systematize being freaking awesome? And that's what this does. This is systematized. Now, if you just collect all the data and don't do anything with it, then it doesn't do anybody any good. But here's what I've discovered. If you will do a VIP form, having that knowledge makes you feel really cool. And then when you call somebody the day before their kid's birthday and says, hey, this is a different year, how are you guys going to do your birthday tomorrow? Right. And I'm genuinely curious to find that answer out. It's cool being the person who makes that call. So you know what you do? You make that call because it's going to be impressive, and we want to impress people. So, Dan, final words of wisdom. I mean, I'm serious. We're at 155. This is like one of the longest daily doses we've done, but it's flown by for me, and I hope it's flown by for those that have attended.
Gotcha. So a couple of things is way too many of us in this industry, the day controls us rather than us controlling the day.
Yeah.
So besides a couple of time blocking tips, which I'm sure Neil goes over, and then how to use the menu close for booking schedules. But when you have these systems, you actually have greater peace within yourself, greater joy to give, which only then amplifies the impact. And if you can take your business and step by step and think small steps, granular level, and take some time, but from beginning to end, and there may never be an end, just loops on a follow-up process, right? You then have a business that can run, and you can actually look at what and start leveraging people because you already have the system in place. So now you can scale and continue to do more impact, more good, and more love to more people without turning prematurely gray or pulling your own hair out and being frazzled and impacting the home life.
I love it. I love it. It's kind of like, people are talking about being, it's time to be human and things like that. And I think what we've discovered with the 7L system and what you're talking about is there's high tech and there's high touch. And so we want to marry this high tech with the high touch or human touch. And I believe that if you take tech plus human, you get superhuman. And that's what we're really talking about here is how to be bionic. How do you be superhuman, And it's like leveraging technology to make you and your human interactions more powerful is the juice. That's what we're talking about here is that, if you think the tech is going to be the end all be all for your sales, you're wrong. It's still a people business. It's not even a data business. Everybody's talking about data these days. And it's like, yeah, you know what? There's more unuseful data in the world than ever before being collected. That's the truth.
We're going to aggregate 7 million data points on these people in these neighborhoods and sell it to you for $700 a month.
That's exactly right. Even though they don't, there's no effective use of the data whatsoever, So what tech do you find most helpful?
You needed some type of database tool, and that's whatever's the one you're going to use, whether it's paper-based, whether it's a CRM of your choice. Yeah. That's going to be important. Controlling your calendar is the second piece. And then if you really want to start going to scaling large communication, but that is completely tailored, then there's an awesome tool called Call Action.
Action?
Yeah, and Jesse Bedouin, he's a cool cat because he's all about staying in conversation. And it truly is designed in such a way where you can stay in conversation with a lot of folks. So that would be kind of a tech nugget. But ultimately, it's your behavior. Yeah. It's you building a system that will guide you and your behavior along your natural rhythms, tendencies to execute this business.
100%. I love it. It's I think if I had a tech, the phone is the tech tool of the day, right? And it's not just, like I said yesterday, this is just a promise keeper. That's all it is. You make promises and then you use this to keep your promises. But I would say this is also like the wow button. This is your wow tool. This is how you wow people too, because it collects and has the data for you to wow people. Call them the day before their birthday, it'll wow them. Calling a day or two before their anniversary to remind them that they need to get something for the spouse, that's a wow, And the thing is you're the only one doing that. I call Gary Keller 3 days before his anniversary. And I talked to him and it was like, who else, is anybody else like reminding you of your anniversary? He goes, nobody, and it's like, nobody. So it's one of those where how hard was it for me to be, is that awesome? Is it awesome that I'm calling Gary Keller and reminding him of his anniversary 3 days before his anniversary? Yes. Right. Is it differentiate me? Yes. How much does it cost? 0. How awesome, or what is the impact on a scale of 0 to 10? It's probably an 8 or 9. And in some cases could be a 10 if he hasn't bought a gift yet. So, Dan, I love this subject. It is perfect. We did this on day 15. of the Daily Dose. I wasn't sure if everybody be ready for it because I know people are kind of coming in at different times, but this is the right topic, the right message at the right time from the right guest. And I just want to say thank you so much for the entire Generosity Generation, for being a leader in the Generosity Generation. And thank you so much for being our guest today on the Daily Dose.
Thank you for all you do.
Everybody, thank you so much. Remember, Monday is Bring Your Kid to Work Day. We are going to do family watch parties with Nick Santo Nastaso, one of the top motivational speakers in the world. And remember, you've got your 75. Next week, we're going to talk how to make that 75 functional, how to build that army of ambassadors so that they are out speaking highly of you and refer you willingly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for dialing in to the Daily Dose today. It is your daily dose of positivity and productivity. We'll see you Monday.